If you are watching this, then this warning is for you. Every word you hear of this useless, needlessly dragged out intro is another second off your life. Don't you have other things to do? Is your life so empty that you honestly can't think of a better way to spend these moments? Or are you so impressed with clout that you give likes and subscriptions to all that claim it? Do you consume everything you're supposed to consume? Do you not skip everything you're supposed to not skip? Share what you're told you should share? Get out of your basement. Meet a member of the opposite sex. Stop the excessive simping and fapping. Quit your procrastinating. Touch some grass. Prove you're alive. If you don't claim your humanity, you will become an NPC. You have been warned. Hey there kids, apologies for the wait, I had to take a break from the hustle. I know that I've only made one proper video so far, but schoolwork still is a real motherfucker. I also may or may not have become addicted to Darkest Dungeon, but how could I not if the narrator's voice is enough to make anyone ejaculate within a 3-second time frame?
Monstrous size has no intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
Unfortunately, that game is too popular for me to cover on this channel, as I must be an elitist who only plays the niches of games. Anyway, my lazy ass finally decided to move this project along, so once again, buckle up my children. Nex Machina is an arcade bullet hell twin-stick shooter where you shoot shots and are shot at with shots. You play as John Machina, a guy with a gun who is tasked with single-handedly ending the entire robot race and optionally saving some of his fellow human beings on the way. Unfortunately for my boy John, the crankers aren't willing to go down without a fight. That is, however, very fortunate for me, since otherwise this game wouldn't be such a banger. Let's start with the lore. Non-existent. It's just not there. The only thing I could find on some obscure Chinese malware-driven wiki site was that humans became such degenerates that the robots just rebelled against them and decided to wipe them out. That's it. Very convoluted, I know. That's the second game in a row that barely has lore. Maybe that will become a pattern. Gameplay! Johnny Boy has to progress through 6 different stages, each with a unique boss at the end, and then a secret boss to get the dub. Each stage will introduce new enemies or simple reskins to make you think they are not the same enemy you've been fighting all this time and that this game has content. To be honest, just fighting the robots is nothing hard. You, the player, are the thing to set the difficulty for yourself. You see that thing over there? That's your score. Now if you can't be arsed to give a damn about it, everything is gonna go quite smoothly for you. But if you're like me and you just have to watch those numbers go up like the national debt of the US of A, you're gonna have to absolutely style those crankers. There are a bunch of ways to gain more points, like rescuing humans, destroying beacons, or cosplaying the natives of North Sentinel Island. You also just get points for dashing right before a level ends. So yeah, bonus style points. When you start playing, you'll probably notice that your weapon is about as powerful as your late-stage dementia-driven grandma. That's because you haven't picked up any bonuses yet. I don't really know what they drop from exactly, they just kinda do sometimes. Those bonuses are
weapon range, weapon spread, triple damage, dash explosion,
and
shield.
The more of those you pick up, the more powerful your shots become. Also, unless you die, you can't lose any of those power-ups aside from shield. Shield is also the only thing that can prevent you from dying when you get hit, so please just fucking pick it up! And remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. Now that you have all your power-ups with you, your weapon will be at
Maximum weapon power.
But what if you wanted to exterminate the robot race even more efficiently? This is where secondary weapons come to play. Despite their name, they are way more powerful than your pew-pew.
We're gonna be talking about the pussy!
They come in a bunch of flavors: Jihadist, Neckbeard, TF2 Soldier,
Scotland is not real!
TF2 Demo Man,
God.
Mikoto Misaka, and Gary's Mod Prop Gun. Being the major weeb that I am, my favorite is the railgun. It just feels really empowering to line up a bunch of people and annihilate them with a single shot. That's what I used to do in the Balkans anyway. Just don't let the UN know. Back on the topic of rescuing humans, I already said that doing so gives you points. But there's also this thing called a human streak. Basically, each time you pick up one of those degenerates, your streak increases by 1. Every point in your streak grants you bonus points for the next person picked up. Now you can just not give a fuck about that and let them die like the degenerates they are. Or you can gamble your life to see the count go higher and higher. If you're like me and you're well versed in the art of femoid chasing, you can gather a lot of points from human trafficking. Setting my criminal record aside, let's talk about the bosses. I'm not gonna talk about each stage in its entirety because I know you kiddos don't have the attention span for that. The first boss fight of the game is Let me get this straight, Chief. You have to be an amputee without either of your arms to get hit by this guy. Honestly, the fight is pretty underwhelming, but since this is the first boss of the game, I can let it slide. The boss of the second stage is an average ADC main after their support takes a single caster minion from them. Actually, you know what, that's kind of offensive towards monkeys. I'm really sorry. Anyway, in a fit of uncontrollable rage and feverish tantrum, they proceed to smash their keyboard multiple times. The falling keys not only deal damage, they also block your shots, which means this fight requires you to reposition constantly. The Expand Dawn also likes to put those turrets on the side of the field, which continuously shoot bullets at you. You can either not give a fuck and just sidestep the living shit out of those shots, or you can destroy the turrets. It's entirely up to you, and I think this is something the game does really well overall. There's no set proper way to deal with things. In my opinion, that's pretty poggy-woggy. Then we fight Lord Ozai of the Fire Nation, whose attacks are actually pretty similar to that of a pretty niche and not widely known US senator. God, I wish you could mod his voice lines into the game just for this one fight. Anywho, the fight is pretty easy, but you also may find yourself getting hit by some random bullshit, or the guy can just headbutt you.
Don't fuck with me, Senator.
I say the fight isn't huge, but it's serviceable. Next on the list is a Warhammer 40k Space Marine, except he's actually an Adeptus Mechanicus. He just does a little hate priming on the humans, and chances are he pulls a negative amount of bitches. He also may or may not be a moderator for the Genshin Impact Discord server. And just so you know, he wants Ganyu to choke him with her thighs. Like the previous boss, he tends to dash around a lot. At certain moments he'll just disappear to reply to his Discord kitten and call reinforcements so that they can die in his place when he has better things to do. Overall, fight pretty enjoyable, me like murdering degenerates. Now, we get to talk about my favorite boss of the game, Elon Musk. After seeing all the returns coming from Twitter, or should I say lack thereof, the meme reviewer decided he's gonna call it quits and just locked himself in his Samsung smart fridge. Now he has his Turkish drones do his bidding, and he throws in some lasers just for good measure. What I love about this fight is that even though the boss is stationary, you can't really go straight for him. Trust me, if you just leave all of his guns shooting at you, you're not gonna go far. But then we have another layer of strategy. You need to prioritize which guns you want to take out first, and which ones you can save for later or just ignore altogether. You can't shoot all of them down, as Muskie will just keep pumping out new ones, and he pumps them out pretty fucking frequently. Not to mention, if you keep destroying the guns, you won't really do much damage to the boss himself. You just have to constantly keep on choosing what you want to shoot at. Unfortunately, the same can be said about Israeli tanks. Just appreciate this luxury you have. Politics aside, I really dig the aesthetic of this boss. It really feels like he is some sort of puppet master, so confident in his craft that he doesn't even move an inch at the side of you. You are entering his domain, and he makes sure you know it. Also, when he switches phases, his looks also change, and goddamn does it look cool. So yeah, this is my favorite boss fight of this game, and you'll have to actually use your one remaining brain cell to beat it. Anyway, after you show Elon that the Twitter checkmark is still piss yellow and that people maybe don't want to spend the equivalent of a Starbucks Frappuccino to still get ads, he has a mental breakdown and we can proceed to the next stage, the boss of which is Darkest Dungeon Collector, but less hot. In typical Toho fashion, the mistress just likes flying around and obscuring the screen with bullets. And I mean, that is a lot of bullets. Aside from bullets, you can expect a bunch of jump roping. There's also this one attack that you just can't sidestep. There's literally no way of dodging it aside from dashing at the exact right time. Overall, this boss fight is a pretty great test of all the skills you've acquired throughout your entire run. I just wish the lady could stop flying for a moment to step on me. If you look like Makima in real life, DM me immediately! As for the final secret boss, which I definitely managed to beat at least once, I'm not going to spoil it. I will tell you two things to describe it. 1. GLaDOS, and 2. So, head. Now, depending on how your run went, you will get one of multiple cutscenes, and I have to say I really dig the art style of those. They really give off a Daft Punk music video vibe, for me at least. Game modes! Aside from your normal typical run, you can also choose to practice particular stages in separation. Or you can choose one of numerous challenges. Basically how they work is that you choose a special challenge modifier and then the stage where you're gonna be playing. The modifiers are just special restrictions, like a time limit or being able to only earn points while being on a human street. Depending on your end score, you will earn a medal, and those medals give you coins, which you can exchange for example, cosmetics for your character. All in all, challenges are a pretty fun breath of fresh air when you've played a lot of the base game, while at the same time, despite their name, not being very demanding. Now I really appreciate those challenges being in the game, because even if only for a little bit of time, they kept me away from booting up League of Legends, which I think we can all agree is exactly what we League players want from other games. Art. I really like the vibrant cyberpunkish colors here. They fit the setting really well, but I guess if you're part of the anti-LGBT community, this may cause convulsions. Or you have epilepsy, in which case, skill issue. The art style isn't over the top and does its job just fine. The VFX is actually the crown jewel if you ask me. It really carries this game hard, and unless you're blind, you'll be seeing a lot of it. I mean, this is a bullet hell after all. As for the music, I've been seen bopping to it on numerous occasions. That being said, I also played the game with some drum and bass running in the background, and let me tell you, the experience hits like an isekai truck. God, I wish one would run me over already. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Conclusion! Nex Machina is a pretty good game, especially for people who want to play a crossbreed between Touhou and Enter the Gungeon. There really isn't anything bad I could say about it from a technical, art or gameplay standpoint. I just wish the game had more to offer because, to be honest, it's not the longest one out there. That being said, it is definitely solid. 8 out of 10.